Go ahead. Sheila, go ahead.
Greetings and shalom, everyone. I am Sheila, a Torah keeper representing from the North Carolina in the United States. Today's presenter at the Spiritual, Physical, Emotional Cleansing Training is Dr. Santy Kit Ling Lee. She earned a PhD in clinical psychology at California University. Her postdoctoral study was in brain health and behavior. She is an American clinical marriage and family therapist. She has also received certificates from a College of Nutrition in Toronto. You can find Dr. Santy's talks numbers 1 through 10 on the House of Israel United Kingdom website. Talks 11 through 47 are on her Messianic Healing YouTube channel. Today, talk number 45 is titled Carnivore Diet Affecting Mind and Body, Heart Health, Cancer, and Mortality. Let's welcome Dr. Santy Kit Ling Lee.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to meet again. Today's talk number 48, and you are welcome to go back to previous talk about the carnivore diet and fiber food, plant-based. Like last talk, I mentioned last few talk, I mentioned about plant-based food, drink harming our body, and also a plant-based diet and carnivore diet. That was my talk 47. Today, I'd like to talk more about carnivore diet, how carnivore diet relate to our heart health, cancer, and mortality. Let's look at introduction. Gut-brain axis connection states toxic foods lead to mental and body malfunction. So go back to my talk 39 and to 45. You can have more information about my explanation. Toxic plant food diet trigger some people to have leaky gut, inflammation, autoimmune diseases. It cannot help constipation, diverticulosis, diabetic, appetite, weight loss, or colon cancer. Wow, pay attention to that. So you would ask a question, is carnivore diet a better solution? This talk dissects some of the doubts of carnivore diet, including research validity, the rate of research, and mortality. Let's look at research on meat, cancer, and heart disease. The belief of red meat causing cancer is mostly from 2015. Remember this year, 2015 report by the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, in short form IARC. This report was widely misread by mainstream media, basing on questionable interpretation. The conclusion was drawn by 800 studies that every 100 grams of red meat per day increases 17 colon cancer risk. For 50 grams of processed red meat, it is 18%, as classified red meat may be carcinogenic to humans. Processed meat cause listeria infection. Actually, yes, this is true. Processed meat, like you go to the grocery store, go to food counter, you purchase the processed ham, processed turkey, processed chicken. Have to pay attention, is that listeria element in it. A detailed 2018 report reveals the errors of this report, because only 14 of the observational epidemiology studies out of 800 studies was used to make this conclusion. Why? What happened to the rest of 786? How come they weren't be used for making conclusion? It remains history. These were the interventional studies in animals showing no relationship between red meat and cancer. So you go back to this 786 study, it said no relation between red meat and cancer. Then what happened to the 14? Look at 8 out of the 14 studies had no link of red meat cancer and colon cancer. Then what happened to the rest of the 6? Only 1 out of 6 had a low statistical strength of significance. Therefore, there's no really correlation, and it is irrelevant. So in the study of 7-day advanced people living in Loma Linda, California, this place is one of the blue zones. And the specific study on this group discover this group of people, they chose red meat, and also smoking, drinking, lack of exercise, they are obese. Therefore, it is unfair to say the high risk of cancer, heart disease, or shorter lifespans is from red meat and not other actions, including those bad behavior I just mentioned. Therefore, people with obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance have strong risk of cancer. Let's look at several groups of studies. For all of them, I chose all of them, those studied before 2015. Surveillance group study on stroke based on 3,731 Japanese from 1984 to 2001. Discover high animal fats and cholesterol reduce thermal inflection depth, reduce, okay? The Lee's group study on 200,000 Asians for around 10 years, discover eating meat decrease the rate of cardiovascular mortality and cancer mortality. The research was done 2013. Case group on epidemiology study of over 60,000 UK people. Oslin is from UK. I hope she's listening now. Well, this talk was developed by staff from UK contribution. Anyway, case did a research on UK people, 60,000 people in UK on plant or non-plant diet. Discover higher colon cancer rates for vegetarian. Well, vegetarian, not meat-based diet. Hutchinson's group study in the year of 2007 agree. What they disagree, decreasing oxidative stress and inflammation when you eat lean red meat at the expense of rich carbohydrate. So that means rich carbohydrate causes a problem. Therefore, the higher red meat diet with carbohydrate lead to higher risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, via effects of iron or to oxidative stress and inflammation. This study, as I mentioned, this field study published before the release of 2015, that is the IARC study. IARC study opposed red meat intake, would cause cancer. I don't understand why the huge amount of study from the group of 2015 IARC disregard all those studies I just mentioned. They didn't take into consideration to make conclusion. What happened? Okay, let's look at cooking method. Heterocyclic and amines, HCA, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH, from red meat induce cancer growth in the gut. Is that right? So pay attention. Only if frequent eating, that means every day, every meal, okay, or 5 days per week. Eating the meat is cooked on a hot surface or exposed to smoke from a grill or fire. Be careful, summertime people like to barbecue. If you barbecue once a week, it's not that much problem. But every day, pay attention. The key is moderate exposure is safe. About more dismantling the LARC report, the 2015 report, there's a concern over activation of MTOR by meat intake. Okay, lowering MTOR would defer cancer. MTOR is a part of signaling pathway, telling the cell to grow and divide. MTOR require two things: leucine, this is an amino acid in meat to activate. Also carbohydrate. Okay, Living's study 2014 use observation epidemiology. It said override MTOR by protein increase cancer risk. To substantiate such a saying, they correlate lower protein intake improving the outcomes in those less than 65 years old. They did not reveal in the same study people they are older than 65 and higher protein intake linked to a better lifespan and less cancer. How can more protein be bad for the younger but protective for the age? Very strange, right? It doesn't make sense. Furthermore, low protein diet has been repeatedly related with muscle wasting. The process is called sarcopenia and a major factor for mortality. And other ignored point about MTOR equation and metabolic pathways are stimulated by both carbohydrate, glucose, insulin, and protein. When MTOR is activated by insulin, it is much faster and lasts 3 or 4 times as long compared to when it is activating by leucine. Leucine is an amino acid in protein I just mentioned. The major trigger for insulin is carbohydrate. So this is the culprit. Protein can also release insulin at a low carbohydrate diet. the degree of stimulation is much lower than the protein eaten with carbohydrate. That means if you eat a small amount of rice with a large amount of meat, then the insulin amount is lower than you eat a large portion of carbohydrate and small portion of meat. I try to use this page to explain more again what I just said in the last two slides, in case people have no clue what I'm talking about in the last two slides. Okay, MTOR, this thing stimulated by two things, carbohydrate from insulin, number two, leucine, amino acid in protein. MTOR, well, all this page explain to expand the opposition of study 2015. MTOR stimulated by insulin 3 to 4 times faster if leucine acts on carbohydrate, trigger insulin. Therefore, as I just said, that you eat a small amount of carbohydrate with protein, more meat, and the insulin would be a small amount. Protein trigger insulin if low carbohydrate. Then you have question. That means eating small amount of meat, less protein, cause cancer risk and live longer. So is it right? Then you come to a conclusion. The problem is not protein, but the amount of carbohydrate. The carbohydrate cause insulin. So therefore, incomplete understanding of MTOR signaling. This is the result. Epidemiological studies in Asia, those eat meat the most, they eat a lot of meat, had the least cancer mortality and cardiovascular disease mortality. That means over reactivate MTOR with more meat can trigger cancer. It doesn't make sense. So the 2015 study, they claim overactivate MTOR by eating more meat can trigger cancer is questionable. Are you interested in knowing blue zone and mortality? Well, this term blue zone is quite famous, right? Then Butler introduced the idea of blue zones in 2005 National Geographic article based on the work together with Michelle Poland and Gianni Pets. 5 regions of the world where people live together live longer by taking similar diet and lifestyle. The area include Okinawa, Sardinia. Another place, the second place, Loma Linda in California, south part of California. And number 3, Nicoya in Costa Rica. And another place, Icaria in Greece. Okay, so number 1, Okinawa. Number 2, Sardinia. Number 3, Loma Linda in California. Number 4, Nicoya in Costa Rica. Number 4, Icaria in Greece. So 5 of them. and his group member discovered they have a generally low smoking rate, high family or social engagement, constant moderate exercise, and heavy plant diet. These are the problems of the study. I draw on other study to find out if this then do the correct work. Many regions, so I discovered the following. Many regions with similar degrees of longevity were left out, such as Hong Kong. Hong Kong has the highest life expectancy in the world, 85 years old. And I draw on, okay. Hong Kong is the world's #3 largest consumer of beef per capita, with an average intake of almost 1.5 pounds per day. To compare the life expectancy to percentage of calories gained from meat giving a different result. The Nicoya man, I draw on other studies to challenge Dan's results. Nicoya men in Costa Rica have lower levels of carbohydrate cardiovascular risk, longer mortality, and higher level of sex hormones. The Nicoya cook most of the food in the animal fat and eat more animal food. They live longer than the rest of Costa Rican. Another research to oppose Dan's discovery result in 2016 by Glasgow group. They found out a correlation between high amount of meat and long life expectancy. And from the study 2017 by Mistroni group, indicate no evidence eating plant meat has an independent protective effect on all-cause mortality. Look, all those research results upon them. The strength of mental health also affect mortality at blue zones. The most consistent similarity among these regions would be avoidance of damaging habits, including alcohol, smoking, joining in meaningful communities, and favorable genetics. Living long life requires nutrient-rich animal food, belongingness or support from community, family, and experiencing meaningful in life every day. Therefore, spiritual, emotional, and physical and health play an integrative influence role in mortality. In the Bible, it said, honoring your parents bring blessing. Longevity is the first promise of blessing in Yahweh's commandment. Therefore, we have to be diligent to investigate the truthfulness of the news and research results with higher validity. Therefore, if you can do some research before you believe and practice eating red meat. So many people think, I mentioned in the beginning, they think it's dangerous to your health. From this research, from this study, I hope you would open your eyes to rethink about it, re-examine about it. Eating red meat has more protective effects than plant food. Don't look only watch this show, this talk. Go back to my previous several talks, and you draw your own conclusion. Okay, eating red meat. This choice is couple have to combine with the emotional and spiritual support. More proof to see the correlation between meat intake, longer mortality, lower cardiovascular disease or cancer. Be aware of genetic makeup. Be you make your choice by your genetic makeup, your type blood, what blood type you have, mental and physical health history. Check your family history, your grandfather, your parents, and your uncle, and your auntie and cousin, what kind of health history they have. Spiritual, economic, and environmental factor have to put into consideration to make your choice of food selection. Of course, pray about it, seek guidance from the host, and also you have to seek guidance from the Holy Spirit, view Carnivore code to explore the suitable way or suitable option to improve your spiritual, mental, and physical health. I give this talk based on quite a bit of research finding, at least in the foreigners, but then I just mentioned the blue zone theory. And also, Gus Gruber in 2016 on the study in 105 countries and talk about longevity. And also the third reference, Hudson's work on increased lean meat, red meat intake does not elevate makers of oxidative stress and inflammation in human. Oh, okay. The next one. The next one is Case Group. In 2009, cancer incidence in vegetarians. Results from the European perspective investigation into cancer and nutrition. The study by Lee's group in 2013, meat intake and cause specific mortality. And then he discovered would give you long life. From the analysis of Asian cohort studies. Another research, Living 2014, 11th group, low protein intake is associated with a major reduction in IGF-1 cancer and overall mortality in the 65 and younger, but not found in older population. Study from the online news source, Listeria strike area on dairy, DELI, dairy meat. Okay, that cause health problem. Okay, another study in 2017 by Misra Hashi Scrub, vegetarian diet and all-cause mortality. Evidence from a large base Australian cohort, the 65 and up study. The next one is 2014 Rosario study on a high of the study on the Nicoya region of Costa Rica, a high longevity island, elderly male. Of course, don't forget about the book I mentioned earlier in my previous talk, and I mentioned it again. Okay, this book, the Carnivore Code by Solindo 2020. And another study 2004 Soviet study on animal protein intake and cerebral infection mortality in the adult health study. And the last research in this talk is by Strasser, role of dietary protein and muscular fitness on longevity and aging. I attend House of Israel UK online and Talmudic Yahshua Fellowship at the they get rent a church in Georgetown, Ontario, for Sabbath worship, Saturday worship. You are welcome to join the spiritual, physical, and emotional cleansing group, training group. If you find that my talk will be very helpful to you, you're welcome to give me offering to me, Dr. Santy Kit Ling Lee, by Western Union. You can send to my first name, Santy KL, my last name Lee. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. If you live in Canada, you can email me, e-transfer me. And I thank for your offering, and may Yahweh reward you greatly. Now it's time to find out if you have any question or comment. Wonderful, see you back, Austin.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, my dear.
Hi. From UK.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, the Lord Sheila from USA, Joanna from Trinidad, and Joe from Canada, all over the world. Welcome.
The Sheila's from USA.
Yeah, Sheila from USA. So two USA. Yeah.
What I would like to say about the talk, you spoke about the thing of the increase in the red meat with regards to muscle wastage and stuff like that. And I come from a family where they are what can I say? They're personal trainers, and they've studied to quite a high level in it. And that's the one thing my daughter always speaks about, and she always checks and makes sure that I'm eating enough meat, because it's so much meat per pound of weight that you have, which keeps your muscles going. We've had this conversation over the years, and like she says, she's not quite sure why people believe as they get older they need less meat, because the whole point is that it's about muscle. And muscle creates muscle. And if you're not eating the right amount, this is where you have issues with the muscle strength failing and wastage of muscle, like you said. And from what I'm understanding as well, through my own research and working with my daughter, it's very important for mental health, hormone balance, and different things like that. So I understand what you're actually teaching. It's,
well taught.
Yeah, I understand. It is very important, especially as you're getting older.
Thank you.
Because, yeah, it's about muscle strength.
Amen.
You have to maintain it. And we're not equipped anyway to understand how to properly put vegetables, pulses and stuff together to create a whole protein. And this is what the problem is. The body will begin to feel the effects of not being able to have a whole protein, which is what you get from the meat. The only thing that I have as an issue with meat is the quality of it, and that we can deal with by going organic and what have you, but it is very essential. I mean, I know people who fry everything in animal fat, and there's nothing wrong with them. I know the problem that we have is it's the industry. It's a little bit like what they did with sugar in our foods and stuff, hidden in everything. So you're wondering, why do you end up with diabetes, especially if you're trying to be healthy and what have you. So as I heard it said once, from the time you walk into the supermarket, you've already lost, because it's hidden in so many things that you would never think of. And then there's the discouragement. That's why it's always best to cook your food from fresh, because then you know what's happening. And then there's the thing with the meat, where they had it for years. Oh, it clogs up your arteries. It does this, it does that. And my argument and my daughter's was, how can it clog it if your body has to have a stable temperature, which means that it's not very easy for things like fats and all that to just suddenly accumulate in your arteries and start blocking up your tubes and stuff, you know? And I know what the issue is. I know it's an issue of if you can get the masses to believe certain things, it also opens up door for revenue in other areas. So all the health problems, that is, and medication. So they know exactly what they're doing. I study over the years and I look at certain things, and it always turns out that the information, the correct information was always there. It just got buried. For whatever reason, it's buried. And then you get what is classed as misinformation. And everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants a long and healthy life. So you'll do what you believe is best to attain that. And so you look to the people who say they know. And this is a lesson to us as fathers people, that we really have to be led. And we also have to do our research. We always have to go back to the origins of everything. We can't take anything on face value. This is the world system, and the world system is for the world. It's not for the kingdom. It's not for anyone, but for those who are up there. So, so that's why this kind of forum that we have here is very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very important. For years, because I don't really like meat like that anyway, I would eat more vegetables, but I always use dairy. I always had eggs and stuff like that for my protein. Very healthy, very fit, very everything. And then I got hit with stress and life. So then in comes that IBS. And then there will be certain things that you're not aware of that you may eat that could cause the aggravation. And I remember when I met my partner then, I noticed that there was a sudden turn in my health. And I had this IBS that kept happening. And obviously there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of things. But I also I acquired another diet by eating with his mom, eating with his family. And I'm not quite sure, I can't put my finger on it, but it was always based around the thing of stress anyway. We tend to be like that. If we stress, it goes straight to the stomach anyway. But like you said, it's a thing of understanding your history, your family history, by way of health, diet, because most people think they've inherited stuff. All you've inherited is a bad food choice, a bad diet. That's all it is. So you don't have to be at the mercy of, oh, my family always this, you don't have to have that. It's knowledge at the end of the day, but right knowledge.
Yes, well said, Austin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's why this talk confront about the 2015 research by other so many significant research that give you example of the mass media. Do you always have to rely on only mass media? Or you know, just one people say this or things like that. Be careful about the money, you know,
always
the
money.
finance. Yeah, the finance back up certain things. Just like my former talk about coffee, the damage of coffee in our health. Okay, we have a very little time, only 1 minute left, and I like to conduct a second session on more sharing if you want, or prayer. And I like to file, anyone want to say a brief sentence before we finish this one?
Great job.
Well, close my eyes. I don't need to, you know, do so much research, and 18 pages of slides never happened in my so many talks. It's first time.
Okay.
For your support.